Well, welcome everybody. Happy Friday. This is a new episode of Evalution Fridays, the e-commerce webinar series where we'll unpack all the strategies that drive success on online marketplaces. I'm your host, Mark Simmons. I'm a key account director here at Eva. In each episode, we sit down with experts to explore the real mechanics of e-commerce growth, not just what looks good on paper, but what actually works. And today's topic is a critical but often misunderstood topic of sustainable profitability, balancing growth and margin in e-commerce. And in a world of rising costs, shifting algorithms, and increasing competition, profitability isn't just about making more. It's about making better decisions over time so that you can grow as a big, profitable brand in e-commerce. Joining me is one of our favorite guests, Jim Roots, the Director of E-commerce Solutions at Eva. Welcome back, Jim.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to see you again. We had a great conversation a few weeks ago, and we're going to dive into a little bit more today on a different topic. And just for anyone watching, stay tuned to the end as well, because I have an exciting announcement that I'll be sharing with everyone. But let's dive into today's topic. Jim, sustainable profitability, it's a big phrase. And as I said earlier, it's often misunderstood. What does it really mean for brands selling on Amazon in 2025 to be sustainably profitable?
Right. This has, of course, like so many aspects, so many dimensions to it. The word sustainable profitability, it means different things for 1P sellers and also different things for 3P sellers, let alone different categories such as CPG category or cosmetics, furniture, and things like that, the non-perishable stuff. So we need to understand, first of all, the type of the product to be able to answer this question, because in most of the cases, for example, with the CPG products, we know repeat purchasers are actually the meaning of what is sustainable profitability. Those are the sellers, those are the purchasers, the consumers that will drive most of your net profit over time, over the coming years. So this is the case for CPG brands. For the case of other categories like the heavier, bulkier products, more expensive products, what you do is the new customer acquisition is actually the driving force on profitability. And for the case of 1P sellers, for example, if you're a 1P seller, most of the time you're not going to be very profitable because Amazon will over time eat up your margins as a vendor. You will have a problem with that. So what defines long-term profitability for a vendor is how comfortable they are from day one of becoming a vendor. If you set your prices in a very comfortable way, if you know what will happen in the next years as a vendor, then you would always give a distance, always keep a little distance between you and your margins and Amazon, right? So this way you can always keep a sustainable profitability, especially in times like this when the fees are increasing. Amazon promises not increasing fees. They did that last year. They broke it 4 times and increased the prices on various things almost 4 times throughout the year. So it's very safe to assume they will do it again and again. so that's why in a place like this, in a domain like e-commerce, especially with Amazon, you can safely assume the fees will increase, and you should always be ready to adapt. If you're a vendor, you have less options. You're a seller, then you have more flexibility to do so.
Yeah, those are some great points, especially on the vendor side. I know a lot of brands want to transition to be a vendor and finally they get selected, but it comes with a whole set of new challenges from our experience.
If, like, for example, a business is not able to sustain economies of scale, I mean, in this case, it's very difficult as a vendor to stay profitable. You can maybe start profitable, but over time, during the negotiations, Amazon will actually, unfortunately, um, take up some of your margin. And that's actually one of the ways that I and our teams at Eva help, especially with the vendor negotiations and vendor conversations between the vendor managers of Amazon and brands. So we specifically focus on that these days a lot more.
Excellent. And on the seller side, this is a question that I've had for years. Why is it so hard to measure profitability as a seller on Amazon?
Right. It is very difficult because of Amazon itself. It is a known fact, actually. Almost 75% of the data Amazon shares with you will be accurate. And accurate is a very strong word. Unfortunately, we are not even sure if that 75% is 100% accurate. Nobody knows really, but we know at least 15 to 25% of the data you see from Amazon is delayed, lagged, or inaccurate. This covers disbursement reports, this covers advertising reports, all the payment reports. They will be skewed a little bit depending on the kind of the product, the amount of FBA fees you pay, refunds, and of course the ad spend, which is a bigger variable that affects how accurate your data will be. So we have a way of actually at Eva, we have our own proprietary tech, Eva AI. If you don't mind, I can show you a little bit.
Absolutely, please.
All right. Well, let's do that.
So to kind of summarize, the Amazon platform itself makes it very challenging to understand what kind of fees and profits are being taken out and made by each individual brand. So you're going to show us some of the ways, a little look under the hood that Eva assists brands understanding their full profitability.
Exactly. So typically, what we do is we start by understanding the business. Of course, when we first lay our hands on a business, the first thing we do is to understand the business, see how the portfolio can be divided and kind of on a more focused way. So what we do is we use some tagging options, as you see here, for specific products and specific groups of products. Maybe these could be your top revenue drivers or profit drivers, or you could name them S1, S2, like or tier one, tier two, golden, platinum, whatever comes to your mind. Okay, so you can actually separate and segmentate these portfolios, set store level goals if needed. Actually, I got kicked out. This doesn't happen to most people. Happens to me in
It's because
general
you're sharing.
because I'm an admin. They kick me out all the time. So let's see here if I can get back on. Yeah, right away.
Okay. So the tagging seems like it has a lot of functionality because a lot of brands have a big catalog. So you can categorize them in whatever way you want by ad groups or ad spending or kind of where they are in the life cycle, new products, seasonal products. That seems like a huge way for a brand with a big catalog to be able to organize and create different strategies for groups of products.
Exactly, Mark. Exactly as you say. And another point of having this segmentation is, as you said, these products are usually not in the same phase as others. Like some products will be in different phases within even certain cohorts. There can be different phases between products or even variations of products. So that's why we have not only store level goals, as I was showing to you, we also have product level goals and details that we can check here. My connection might be not stable, Mark. Let's see here if it works. Let's do a little refresh.
There we go.
Yes. Okay, so here are some product level goals. Yeah, I think my internet is not the best at the moment, under a lot of pressure with the connection. So yeah, you can see kind of the product level goals that we can set. We have sliders that can focus on more growth or more profit. So understanding the profit is the key element to be able to make decisions like such on a product, right? So let's go and understand how we are calculating products first, how we are measuring it in a proper way, which can fuel decisions that we make here in this area. But this is what we are supposed to do in today's world in any kind of e-commerce dimension. So we first of all start by knowing your net profits at Eva, by collecting all the information from Amazon. These are the ones that we know. And we basically, what we do is we clean up this data a little bit. Um, Almost all data points require some level of cleaning up. And you can see your, all the related fees to Amazon. And the only thing that we don't know about a brand from the get-go is their cost of goods sold. That's what we need to be able to complete the puzzle and know the net profits of a business. And after seeing that, we are also able to follow through with the total sales funnel, the PPC funnel, seeing how the business is trending, how are the top sellers moving, or if there's any culprit for any long-term storage fee. These are the ones that we need to look into to understand that. So moving forward, in case of product level profitability, Eva actually does it in various places. You can follow that from pricing management along with your pricing decisions, or if you want to go to the summary of things, you can go to product performance, and here you will be able to see, not there but here, you're able to see the sales and profit analytics on a daily basis. So Eva actually cleans up data and shows you accurate profit analytics on a daily basis or a weekly basis, up to your liking. This is how we measure, because without measuring your profits, you cannot kind of sustain it or optimize it.
Amazing. So we can see profitability on a store level, but then granular in every single product as well. That now you can see that in Seller Central, but I know that you have to do a lot of tricks and probably export the data into an Excel and create formulas in order to actually have accurate profitability. And then it doesn't solve the main problem that you were saying, that Amazon's data also needs some cleaning up. So a tool like this can really help a brand understand exactly what their margins and profit are on a per SKU.
To be honest with you, Mark, ain't nobody got time for that. Okay, so ain't nobody has time to download all the advertising reports, divide the spend per SKU, and then per day, even per hour, and that's just gonna be too much of a work for anybody to do. This is more of like a Netflix-like understanding of your Amazon business as a whole, but not just that, because we haven't talked about the biggest contributor of uncertainty with margins, which is the advertising. So to be able to understand advertising, Eva uses a few things. We have two specific technologies. Number one is our Eva AI, and the other one is our holistic methodology deployed by our experts. We have a bunch of ways of implementing that, but the most effective one is typically full service. And within the advertising domain, what we do is, maybe this is very familiar to most of the people in terms of like what kind of rules are applicable. These are rule sets that we start managing the account with. But rule sets are not enough. Rule sets are good to lay the foundation, but then you need to build on top of this foundation per SKU, understanding each item, their consumers and their behaviors, how they move and how they act when you do certain changes to your strategy on the advertising side, inventory side, pricing or promotion side as well. And this is kind of showing you a little bit of what we do there, because a big profit driver is actually proper negative targeting. It is actually one of the biggest reasons amateur PPC managers and amateur brands lose a lot of profits. It happens very often in the market, and you can see Eva actually does it. Almost no human interaction needed. It's about 30% human interaction, given our AI contribution is almost 70% to the full management. And you can see budget is also managed by not only based on the performance, but also inventory movements as well. Eva continuously tracks your inventory, knowing what you do when you're sending a shipment and when you're running critical stocks. I don't mean like running out of stock only. When Amazon tells you on the search page, when you see that 5 left, buy more, soon, like buy soon. That kind of the notification is Amazon's kind of yellow card to you in terms of the visibility. You will soon get some level of visibility impact of that. If you do that very often, the impact is stronger as well.
Right, right.
Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense, and you answered one of my next questions about the advertising side. Um, Switching gears a little bit, thank you for sharing the platform. We may also come back to it if some of the other questions may pertain to it, I believe. Um, but in general, Jim, for brands on Amazon, where do they tend to go wrong? There is a ton of brands that are selling and growing, and they're losing money. Um, why is it so hard to understand the profitability, and what kind of common mistakes do you see?
Very good question. Focusing solely on the 3P side, because 1P, there are less levers to pull. And unfortunately, if you didn't set it up correctly from the beginning, you will always have a hard time, like forever. So let's focus on the 3P side where you have more control over things. The answer to this question would be probably advertising. Where people go wrong most of the time, it's advertising. It's the most impactful element towards your profitability. The other one is logistics. Sometimes they can switch places depending on the product and the category. If it is a big product, if it is very volume wise, very, very big, or very heavy or very expensive, these things can increase the impact of inventory planning and replenishment forecasting on your profitability, which within our holistic approach, we address that as well. But for the most part, most commonly speaking, it's advertising, because the biggest problem with the advertising is like it's kind of you're kind of blindfolded when you first start with Amazon PPC. You don't really know what works and what's gonna work, and your consumer base or your audience, you probably have not much of an idea who they are, how they behave, where they go, and things like that. So this creates the ambiguous decision-making process where you don't know what to do on which element and when. And that is kind of a thing that we resolve, kind of an issue that we resolve with our Day Parting Plus module. This module is the area where we kind of go into the details per product, kind of building on top of that fundamental we created account level. Okay, so those are account level rules. Now we go to the specifics per product, understanding when a product makes sense to promote. This one doesn't have much stock, for example, so we wouldn't probably advertise that one. Let's see this. This doesn't even have much stock either. Let me choose one that has more stocks. Maybe this one. Not even this. I need more of them.
Fast.
Yeah, I need a lower PSR ideally. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter that much, like how much stock you have, but we wouldn't probably advertise this very heavily, knowing that it's likely going to go out of stock. And Eva would automatically keep their eye on the inbound shipments to see if we can start advertising again. But overall, Eva knows when you're getting those sales and when you're likely to get those sales. For example, Saturdays and Wednesdays are seemingly a kind of a great time for us. And you are also seeing like when you're getting these impressions during the day or the week on a 4-week average. So it's kind of a pattern by now to know that it's not a coincidence this cell is colored. It is actually a repeating pattern. And Eva understands these patterns, knows what happens in the morning in terms of the budget coverage, in terms of the CTR and the CVR. So she knows when to invest in this product and when to invest on what kind of an advertising campaign. She knows all the campaigns right here, and how much, like what kind of a investment level is required to capture the results that we need. Plus, also the goals of a product matter in terms of these decision-making processes. If you're focused on purely volume or more awareness for launched items, like new launch items, or maybe consideration focus simply because maybe the product is launched already but not doing very well. So these are the areas we specialize to get that ambiguity out of this decision making process, because most people fail at following these things. They have to eat, sleep, live a life. Most of these advertising managers don't have time to check this kind of a database themselves without Eva for a week and every hour of the day. So that's how we help.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing a little behind the scenes of the Eva technology. I've seen it in action. I've seen it benefit tons and tons of brands. If you're a brand either just getting started or established on Amazon, and you want an assessment of profitability and growth potential, can you talk a little bit about how Eva helps those brands to assess that? Even a brand that's just getting started, how can Eva put together a bit of a roadmap, factoring in profitability for their outlook?
Right. Thank you, Mark. There are a few ways of doing this. The most important thing to check at this point is your break-even ACOS. Understanding that will definitely impact the strategy building process. EVA dynamic pricing and also the dynamic promotions elements are also effective in terms of defining how much room you have to profit and maximize sales velocity. I'm going to show you how that incorporates into our advertising decision making, because it is one of the top reasons of not being profitable. If you see a product being unprofitable, there's a really good chance it's because of the way that it is being advertised. And it also is coming from not knowing certain elements of your strategy, such as your profitability metrics, such as break-even ACOS. Even knows that from the get-go, your current ACOS, your ROAS, your TACOS, and your break-even ACOS is known to the system right away. If this increases or decreases, Eva will adapt to that without any human intervention. So by knowing your ACOS levels for the whole week and the whole hours of the week, Eva can know when it makes sense profit-wise to invest or not. So these areas, as you see, we have almost 200 ACOS or 180 ACOS, 150 ACOS. These are areas we are not going to invest very heavily. Maybe we do for other reasons, like ranking reasons or category targeting reasons, or maybe aggressive reasons where you want to steal some traffic. Could be the case. Maybe you can tolerate that, but Eva will be learning that from your advertising manager anyway. We teach these kind of side projects, let's say, these side projects to the system to make sure we are aligned with the full strategy, the full picture of the strategy.
Incredible. And Eva can also use all of this data for a brand, for an assessment to put together a 12-month projection as well, correct?
That is correct. We actually have a module baked into the system. This kind of analyzes all the available advertising metrics. This is a advertising audit that we do for our customers and our people who are interested in Eva, who connected their stores to Eva. They can get this audit without any charge. It's complimentary. And following that audit, understanding what is the weakness that is, shining in between everything. If you see the weakness and the things that can be improved, and the things to take, the things to leverage on, things that can that are working at the moment and can be even better in the future, we put all of those actionable insights together to build a 12-month projection. This gives you a kind of a growth trajectory to follow over the next year together with Eva, typically under the full account management.
Amazing. And you can find that free connection link on our website at eva.guru. And from there, you can request a consultation, and Jim or me or one of our team members can go through, ask you a lot of detailed questions, analyze the data, and put together that 12 excuse me, put together that 12-month projection for any brand curious about their outlook. One of the last
Exactly.
questions I have for you, Jim, advice for a brand that is currently operating with thin or negative margins, or maybe the tariffs have changed the game, or their supply has changed, or they're just struggling with profitability on Amazon. What are the first levers that they should focus on adjusting?
They should focus on the search query performance report as soon as possible, kind of understanding how that works, how those keywords are working in terms of the advertising or in terms of organic activity. Negate the things that are wasting your money, especially the keywords that are wasting your money, or ASINs, or whatever you're targeting, really, or category. Make sure you're understanding the full benefit of the campaign types, because all campaign types are useful. Because there are so many myths out there, like certain campaign types, sponsored display doesn't work, sponsored brand doesn't work. I can tell you this is wrong, guys. There's always a way and a time in your life cycle to use all these campaigns in a proper way to drive certain things like brand awareness, consideration level customers, new to brand customers, and everything. Track and target them in a proper way. If you're not doing it today, I recommend working with professionals to do it. Otherwise, what will happen is, first of all, you will sit in front of a computer every day and all the hours, and you'll stop eating and sleeping for a couple of years. Don't do that to yourself. Work with professionals. At the worst case scenario, get a tool to assist you with the data processing, because it's not like 2022 anymore. Back in the 2022, when I was a young brand manager, it was very easy. We didn't have this much data to process. Today, it's not a human job for by any means, like in 100% way. Maybe 30% strategy wise, the context of the market, audience based strategy building. Those are the things maybe AI cannot do today. But those are the areas humans should involve themselves. The rest should go to machines. That's my recommendation to most brands.
I think that's a great advice. And you would know more than most, having a lot of detailed access to Amazon data and seeing a lot of brands' journeys. Well, thank you, Jim. Is there anything else you'd like to share with folks listening?
Well, today's Friday. I think we all love the vibe of today, and the feeling of kind of a summer feeling I'm having these days, hence the shirt.
I can tell with that shirt.
So what I'm recommending is probably keep a close connection with the news that are happening at the moment. Follow them closely. A lot is happening at the moment in the world, in the economics and the e-commerce side of things. What we did is we want to give the audience that follows us. We want to give our customers, our partners, a kind of a weekly summary of what happened during the week every Friday around 11 a.m. PST. That's kind of a timeline that we are sending out some news. These are some kind of a funky, kind of a funny way of speaking about what happened over the week. Life is already complicated and stressed enough. We want you to feel a bit of a decharge and kind of a wrap up of the week. We call it the by the week. It's Friday. That's the kind of way we say it. So please follow that, guys. It's going to have some information about what happens for that week and what will happen in the next week. From Eva's side, we will be sharing some content and some more newsletters to keep you informed.
Absolutely. That is
and deals, by the way. Promotions and important deals will be there as well. Keep an eye on those too.
That is a must read for sure. Jim, if people aren't following that, how can they go and make sure that they're on that list?
On the website of eva.guru, you can go at the top and there's a section where you can subscribe to our newsletter. So you can't miss that. So
yeah, you want to stay up to date with all the latest exciting news. And speaking of news, I have a couple of announcements. First, we will be back in a couple weeks on Friday, June 6th. And our guest will be a familiar guest. It's Jim. Jim will be back with us. And
Wow.
again, it's going to be a party. And on that webinar, we're going to be talking about unlocking growth and leveraging promotions on both Amazon and Walmart. So that's a very exciting topic. You don't want to miss that. And my other announcement is that starting soon, I'll be launching a new podcast called The Brand Odyssey. I'm very excited to announce this podcast. In each episode, I'm going to be having on a brand and a guest from that brand. Typically, it's going to be the owner or the founder. And we're going to be talking about their experience in e-commerce. This will be a mix of brands. Some will be established. Some will be just getting started. And they're going to talk about the roadblocks that they faced, their breakthrough moments, lessons learned along the way. And we're going to have a huge variety in different categories. So you won't want to miss that. Again, you can follow on our website or our newsletter, which Jim mentioned, or any of our social media or LinkedIn page for Eva Commerce, or my own LinkedIn page. We'll have the first episodes coming out soon. I hope you check that out. It's going to be very exciting. And Jim, we'll see you in a couple weeks where we'll be talking about unlocking growth and leveraging promotions on Amazon and Walmart.
Absolutely, Mark. Looking forward to it. I think I'm becoming a regular in this show. So.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Thank you so much again, Jim, for joining us. Everybody, hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Stay awesome, guys. Thank you.
Bye, guys.